Hello there, it's Chess Tech. So, tonight, got something a bit different. It's going to be a bit of problem solving whilst walking briskly up a hill. So, you might hear some munching going on as I'm walking along, I should say. So, let's have a quick look. So, puzzle rating 21-25 at the moment. As we can see, our run here, it's not been bad recently actually. As I said in a previous video, actually I think there is a correlation between your how you're playing and your tactics. So if your tactics training is going quite well, it's pretty obvious really, I suppose. I would say that I find that my chess is not bad and I'm seeing things, and I suppose you could say that's very obvious, but anyway, because obviously if your tactics were rubbish, then your chess would be rubbish. When it comes to actually playing a game, your tactics will be all over the place. So, but I wouldn't say my best. I think my tactics training rating was about 2200 and 2202 or something like that. So I'm not far off that, but I'm not say I'm playing amazingly when it comes to playing. So let's look at this puzzle. This video is obviously, I'm aiming this video at your 1600 to maybe 1900, 2000 player. How are we going to break this tactic down? So we've got the knight pin here, got the bishop pinning the knight. So we can take that knight, that's my first thought, and that obviously attacks the queen. That means he's got to move his queen to take it, to obviously recapture it. And I'm thinking about the fact he hasn't got any checks on that I can see. Well, he's got one check on, which is like his queen could come to d4, or a bishop could come to d4. But obviously my knight's covering that square, my knight on e2. So that doesn't work. I'm not getting mated instantly. So therefore it's another clue that it could be just winning a piece. He's not getting mated instantly. There's just no way that I've got like a check or a mate on that I can see in any way. So logically, we have to deduce that, chess is a game of logic. It's just whether your logic's any good or not. That's the bottom line, So, what's interesting about tactics trainers and all this, doing these puzzles in books, wherever you do them, or do them in a book is I don't know, it's very good. But the thing with doing it online is you do have this sort of like threat hanging over you. Like you make the move and then you get like boom, wrong, or incorrect, and it's all over. And then you get the fix, like a little endorphin hit. Is it an endorphin hit or dopamine hit? Your brain releases that chemical when you get it right, So it's just like winning a game of chess, I suppose, that hit you get. But there's no doubt about it, 100%, that doing puzzles will improve your chess, improve your critical thinking. And to be honest, the sort of puzzle we're looking at here, if the average club player and the average tournament game, this is definitely a position you could get over the board. Obviously it's from a game. Lichess takes these from games, I believe. These positions are definitely from real games. Anyway, let's get back to what we're going to do here. I'm already upset about this puzzle, but I'll tell you why. It's because I already feel that I'm going to get it wrong. It's just something about it. It's a bit tricky, actually. I want to say it's just obvious, taking the knight, but then I can't really see what that gets me. It's not getting me anything. I mean, I can't actually see. You can see my pawn is threatening to queen. But if I queen that pawn, he just takes it with his queen. So it is, it's a kind of deflection. It's deflecting his queen. So if I queen my pawn, sorry about that, which I'm not going to do, it's forced to take that, pretty much. We could play bishop check still, bishop d4 check, ignore the queen. Doesn't really do anything though. Just take it with my knight, and then it'll be queen check. Interesting. I have to move my king, and then he's got queen takes bishop, queen takes queen, knight takes bishop, knight takes queen in the middle. And that doesn't solve anything. And then I suppose then he can take the queen that I've just promoted on b8 with his rook. So that just doesn't work. I mean, the quick dirty move is just to take the knight with his bishop. That's the move that's crying out to me, but often that's not the move. Let's just have a look again. What can I do that's better? I can't see a rook move. Rook takes pawn. My rook takes pawn isn't going to do anything. Haven't got a knight move. My bishop can't threaten anything. My white square bishop, there's no check on. Could move my queen to c2 and threaten his knight. And I did that. I accidentally did that. It was the right move by a miracle. Now here's what's this is what's critical about this, is I've made the right move here, you can see. But I haven't worked out yet why. It was a candidate move in my head, but I don't actually know why it's the right move, because I thought, well, surely he could just take my bishop anyway with his knight, but instead he's dropped it back and taken the pawn. I don't quite get why. So now I'm just winning a piece. I can't quite work that out, although he can't do anything about it. Let's just take this knight, and that's right. So tell me that puzzle's going to be 13 points for that. I mean, that's outrageous. I'm going to have to analyse that. I don't understand that. So that's the move. Why can't he just take my bishop with his knight? And then I take his. Now he could just move his queen like he's done here. And then he still loses a piece. Oh, I see. Well, he can. Yeah. Why can't he do that? Oh, then he promotes. Yeah. So what it is that I calculated. I calculated that his queen could just still protect this knight, but then I forgot about the original threat of the queen pawning, the pawn queening even, which means he has to then sacrifice his rook. Yeah. So it's a very interesting tactic. That I think that's quite a difficult tactic actually. That's very difficult. That's not trivial at all. So let's try another one. So what have we got here? He's pushed the pawn. So first thoughts are here. His king is right bang in the middle of the board. Serious trouble, the white king. I mean, serious trouble. My immediate thought is see the rook, bringing my rook to e8. I won't move a piece this time until I'm ready. But then he just plays his knight. He just attacks my knight by moving his king to f3. Then that allows me to fork his king and his knight by me playing my knight to h2. I win the exchange then. Is that really enough? I mean, the exchange isn't bad, don't get me wrong. So if you've just joined me, I'm just walking up a hill and doing 20 minutes of walking. and it's very good for you to keep yourself fit and healthy. Keep your body fit, your mind will follow. So let's think about this. What have we got here for a quick, brutal win? I mean, this is the sort of position. I mean, you look at this position, and if you want to learn something, this is the sort of position that you will get in your chess lifetime. You know, online or over the board, and you've worked hard as black, and you've got white. White is dead meat. White is dead meat, and you just have to see it home. And this is just really pure tactics, working this out. I mean, positional chess will kind of help you here, but there's no doubt about it that you just need to finish somebody in this position, and it'll be frustrating to let white wriggle off and escape in a position like this, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, he's actually materially up here. White is white is a rook and a couple of pawns up, I believe. So in this position, you know, if you don't take white down, you're all finished. You're in big trouble. So the question is, what are we going to do? So rook e8 just means he could go to, obviously, king d3. And what's the follow-up after that? Really much. I could check him with rook e3, and then he can move his king to d2. I can just see his king escaping here. I'm looking at also queen to g6 check. So that's bringing the big gun in. See, you would try and get your powerful pieces closer to the king, the enemy king. He's going to be in trouble, you know. It's going to be harder for him. More opportunities. I mean, bear in mind over the board as well. I mean, if there was any sort of time pressure in a game like this, you know, it'd be tough on white to defend this position. I mean, his rook on a1 is absolutely redundant. You might as well just take it off the board and put it in your back pocket. It's just doing nothing, you know. So you know, he's effectively playing without a rook here. And what it looks like in this game, I'm guessing that black sacrificed a piece or done something to get this attack and draw the king out. So so I was thinking about queen g6 check. We could push the pawn and block it. Well, I don't like that, because then I'd follow up with rook e8 check, and then he can wriggle off then to d3 again. So I'm looking at like a fork between his king. See, a fork between his rook and king is good. That wins the exchange, but it doesn't win you the game. It needs to be the queen. Now there is a fork on, obviously. My knight could go to e3, but obviously that's just pointless, because the king will just take it, and it's just a waste of time. I've just got that in my mind though, that move, that there's a fork there between the rook and the queen. But we have to assume that because I'm a rook down, that whatever black's going to do in this position is going to end in mate. He can't mate me now, obviously. We can see he's got no checks on, can't mate me. So this is about finishing your opponent off. Very important, instructive position. This is extremely important, okay? Because this moment will come, I say, in your chess career, and you don't want to let it go. Okay, so winning a piece isn't enough. It's no good winning a piece. I mean, just say I could play, just say for argument's sake, something like pawn to b5. This is like the wrong thinking now, like a new player might think of, you know, hitting the bishop. It's pointless. Winning a piece does nothing for you here. Winning a bishop, winning a rook only equalises the position, roughly. Winning the queen, if you win white's queen for the knight even, somehow, that's not going to It may only get you a draw. You know, it's still going to be a tough game. It's not enough. My gut's telling me that this position ends in mate. Okay, so we have to mate this bad boy. So my gut, my instinct's telling me either Queen G6 check or Rook E8 check. I'm looking at a sacrifice as well, just popped into my head. Another sacrifice, which is Bishop F5 check, which would be forced. Wouldn't be forced actually. You could just ignore it. Yeah, sometimes he might take that piece and then draw his king out more, but I don't think it's that because he can just ignore it and play King F3 or King D3. So it's not that. I'm thinking. So Queen. Let's just go through the lines. Queen G6 check. Where his king obviously can't go to E3. Can only go then, because I'm now on the D3 square. It's forced to go to F3. So, or F3, and then we have Knight Knight H2 check, and the king can't move to G3, and it can only move back to E3, or it can go to F2. So if it goes to F2, where's the follow-up for my queen? I can't see the follow-up. I'm struggling here. She's got a lot of pieces around, and then my bishop will be able to come in the game. It's difficult, which is tricky. I mean, the obvious one you could say is just the tempting one is just to play this Rook E8 check, blast it in there. But I just feel he's just going to play King D3 and then escape and end up back on, get his king onto. You see, he hasn't got to rush anything here. As soon as he gets his king onto C2, C1, sorry. I mean, he's home and dry. He can take his time sorting the position out. So, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What am I missing? Any other moves? See, I've got Knight F6 check. Can't see that does anything. I just can't see the follow-up move. So we can say that if I think I've the reason. Thing is, I can't even see a follow-up move after Queen G6 check, and he pushes the pawn. Then I've got the Rook E8 check. I've just this is probably bad. It's like you could say it's just hope chess or positional feel. I'm lacking some ability at the moment to be able to calculate the complete mate all the way through. So my instinct is really I just keep narrowing it down to either Rook E8 check or Queen G6 check. And Queen G6 check looks the worst of the two. Am I missing something really blindingly obvious here? Something better? There's no other checks on. Bishop check doesn't work because he ignores it. If he does ignore it, can I check him anyway though? So if I check him with a bishop and he takes it, just say he did take it. Then he gets mated, doesn't he? Yeah, I got you now. This is sneaky. This is very sneaky. So if I play Bishop F5 check and he takes it with his king, then I just play Queen G6 check and it's mate. Okay. If he doesn't take my bishop and he retreats his king to F3, then I play I'm guessing Knight H2 check. And then I'm looking at How is he going to... That's a mate there. That's a mate there with the bishop. I'm just trying to work out if he can wriggle out still. You know, I want to play that move desperately. It feels like it's the move. But I'm just looking at, can he escape by going to king f3? So I play bishop f5 check. See, I've rejected this line because of this bishop escaping to f3. So the only square is f3. What's the follow-up? What's the follow-up? I can't see any other follow-up other than knight h2 check. And then he can go to king g3. Where am I going to go then? Swing my queen across, g6 check. Takes my knight. I can't see the follow-up. I just cannot see it. Cannot see the follow-up here. It's really, really bugging me. This is really. I'm finding. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm happy to admit my chess is obviously not perfect by a million miles. But some people, I expect there's some young people who just play this tactic in seconds. They would just go, yeah, bang. So now I definitely don't think it's rook e8. There's no way it's rook e8. It's not forcing enough. There's too many escape squares. Bishop f5 check is crying out, but it doesn't have to take it. You could ignore it and just go king f3. How do I follow up king f3? I have the check, and then I do win the rook, and then the king takes the rook. Queen takes knight after I take his rook. Then I come in with queen takes f4 check. Right, I'm going for this. Right, let's go for it. It's wrong. Darn. It's wrong. Let's try the original. That's wrong as well. No way. Don't tell me it's like rook e8. It's not rook e8. Goodness me. No, this is fascinating because I can see I've spent some time on this and analysing it. I've thoroughly analysed this, and yet I'm completely wrong. And it cannot be this knight check. Nope. Fascinating. Of course, I didn't think, did I? Now, of course, I see queen e7. How simple is that? Mate. Now, this is this is so important. This is like gold dust I'm dropping for you here as a player, an up and coming player. And the reason is, you can learn a hell of a lesson from this, right? The reason I didn't get this puzzle is, you could say, yeah, because you're not good enough. You can't say it's because I didn't take enough time on it, but you can. It's not that I didn't take enough time, I didn't take the right time. I didn't spend enough time analysing the candidate moves for the queen. So I knew the queen, my gut was telling me the queen has to make this attack, and I think part of the reason I rejected queen e7 check was because I rejected rook e8 check. Because rook e8 check, I could just see it escaped, but of course. And then when obviously the rook would go up and make another check, but the king could always escape, but of course it can't escape from the queen. Can't escape from the queen. It's a wonderful puzzle, really nice puzzle, and I didn't analyse it thoroughly enough. So the lesson I've learnt there is not taking enough time to fully look at the candidate moves. Check all checks. Goes both ways. Bobby Fischer said. He didn't say that actually. He said see a check, play a check. Didn't he? Anyway, so that put a hit in my rating, I expect. I'm not really bothered about that. it's good for me. It's good because, you know, I could have been sat over the board playing this with an hour on my clock, and that's the other take home from this, is that you know, if you're ever in a position like this and you've got plenty of time, you are lucky enough to have plenty of time, you need to take that time. And you know, if you've got loads of time and your opponent's got like 10 minutes and you've got 50 minutes, walk off, go and have a drink, come back to the board, start again, analyse again. Yeah, don't feel you've got to sit there and finish the position and make it and do it in one hit. Yeah, this is you know, this is how easy you can screw these positions up. You know, going off on tangents. You know, it was so obvious. It was right there in front of me. Queen e7 check, and I didn't analyse it. I didn't even pop it into my mind. Didn't finish properly thinking about my queen moves, and went off on one. Some sort of like incredible. I mean, this is ridiculous. This idea. Bishop takes check, and I'm hoping that his king's going to do that, and I mate him here. I think that's mate, isn't it? Yeah, that's mate. I mean, you know, that would have been absolutely wonderful. That is legitimate mate, you know, obviously, but it's not right. Oh, Latvian gambit was the opening. Interesting. So yeah, that is one to get you open up your opponent if you want to surprise them. A Latvian gambit. We won't go into that. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed this blitz. Oh, I guess it's just a training session, and you know, this sort of tactics training is valuable. Don't give up on it. I don't think you should ever do. One thing I would say is don't do more than maybe 10 puzzles in a row, because there's no doubt, unless you're sort of young and super energetic and got time to kill, nothing else to do with your life all day, you just get mentally exhausted and you always collapse, you always go downhill in the end, and it's quite exhausting. So, you know, I reckon 3 to 5, have a little break, come back. Anyway, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed that, and any comments or questions, leave them on YouTube, and I will see you soon.